Hanfman.
I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Dennis Kudla.
This is Sebastian Wolfner.
It's Mark-Andrea Whistler.
I am Francisco Cerundolo.
And you're listening to the GTL podcast.
Hopefully you enjoy it.
Hey, welcome back, tennis fans. Day 7 is nearly over. One match still playing. It is Sasha Zverev, but it may be over by the time you watch this one. But the big story, Iga Swiatek knocked out of the Australian Open by Linda Noskova. That was an incredible matchup. And other big names, Nuno Borges knocking out Grigor Dimitrov. Where do we start, JG, on day 7?
Well, they are the two big ones. Borges winning, creating history for Portugal, and Iga, the world number 1, losing to the young Czech Noskova in 3 sets. Iga won the first set as well, which makes it even more extraordinary. And now the women's draw has opened up to another level. There's so many big players out. The biggest two being Iga and Rybakina, two of the favourites to win the whole thing. Now Sabalenka with the bookies will be probably a bigger favourite than Djokovic is on the men's. I've not checked the odds, but I'm assuming it's going to be something like 1.6.
Rule out Coco Gauff.
No, I really believe Saba now has such a big opportunity. But the interesting thing to say is that we've got Saba and Coco as the two big hitters out of the 4, but they're still on the one half together.
Yes.
So really, there's an opportunity for someone on the top to get all the way to the final. And this cues nicely to the tweet you made.
Yeah, exactly. The top half of the women's draw wide open now. No Iga, no Rybakina. And one of these 8 women will make it to the final. So these are as the bracket would look as well. Just so I did it like that, just so you can see who they're playing. So we've got
nice.
Noskova versus Svitolina. I'll put their ages there just so you can see there's a real variety. Noskova still a teenager. Svitolina, obviously a mother. We got Victoria Azarenka, a mother there. 2-time Australian Open champion. She is, for me, looking like a real strong competitor in this little section. And with Diana Yastremska there as well. And we've got Jasmine Paolini, Italian there. That she's done great, knocked out Blinkova. Anna Kalinskaya, 4th round for the first time. And Kim Win-jeng there at the bottom. And she must be fancying her chances right now.
So my assessment of this is Kim Win-jeng, I believe, is on paper the favourite to make the final. You could also make a case for Svitolina. I think them two are the best 2 players we've seen this last year, consistently on a week-on-week basis. However, you've got someone like Azarenka, who has shown that she can win the Australian Open, and she's got more titles than probably all of the others. Svitolina as well, them two both have quite a few titles around the WTA. And who's to say that she's not going to be able to just do it and surprise some people? Not many people had Azarenka getting all the way to the final. It is now a real possibility. She's been here before. Can she use her experience? But I do want to just go back to the fact that what we've seen this last few year, I would say, is that Kim Win-jeng has got an opportunity of a lifetime. This is her chance to now announce herself on the WTA tour and try and get into that top 10.
Yeah.
Because most likely, if she is to get to the final, she'll be a top 10 player. I don't know that statistically, but...
Well, you'd have to think that if she was to get there, she's knocking on the door already. She's already at 13. So I think that it's just a matter of time before she gets there. And yeah, I mean, it's just an opportunity for all of these players. They all must be looking at this just thinking, well, especially Noskova, if I can beat Iga, I can beat anybody. And that's what's got to be her mentality now going in. Azarenka, I think she may see this at being 34 years old as the best chance now left to win a slam, potentially. It's her best slam, and I think she could beat all of those players on her best day.
Yep, let's move to the next one.
Yeah, so let's just move over to the next one. This one talking about the women's top 20 seeds, and we've got crosses next to all of the ones that have gone out, so it's probably easier to read the ones that are still in.
So we've got Sabalenka, Coco Gauff, Krajcikova, who's had a really nice draw so far, Kim Win-jeng, Azarenka and Svitolina, and that's it. End of list.
Yeah, madness. And to put this into perspective, what Noskova has done, this is how difficult it is to beat Iga Swiatek from a set behind. And these are the stats. In WTA 1000 level, she's 58-0, Iga. But in majors,
after winning the first set, that is.
Yeah, that's right. And in majors, 62-6. I mean, crazy statistics. The only people to have beaten her are Sevastova, Kontaveit, Halep, Jabeur, Ostapenko, and now Noskova.
Yeah, insane. And Noskova being the only young player. And we can see here, Linda Noskova is the first teenager to defeat world number one at the Australian Open since Emil Mauresmo in 1999 versus Lindsay Davenport.
Yeah, I mean, she's really come to the forefront. She had a really good few tournaments leading up to the Australian Open, and she's continued the form. It's one player that you had on the radar maybe even a couple of years ago. So she's coming.
2 years ago, not last Roland Garros, the Roland Garros before. She was my number one qualifier to watch. She was someone I was backing heavily. I believe she had Raducanu at one stage. Not sure if she won that one or lost it in the end.
Lost it, but played well.
But took a set. And from when I saw her at that period a few years back, I just knew that she'd be a top player. I didn't expect her to be Iga. Don't think many people did.
No.
The odds were crazy. Both of us in our predictions had Iga in straights. And this is a real surprise for me.
Yeah, most definitely. Was it a surprise to Iga, though? This is what she said after the loss.
She said, physically, I felt pretty good. I have no regrets, but for sure, I wish I could have played better in this tournament. She's not come out and made excuses.
No.
Raducanu. She's just come out and accepted that she lost. She felt good in herself, no problems physically. Just come up against a player in inspired form who beat her fair and square.
Yes, and this means now worse than last year's result, really. She got to the fourth round last year, only third round this year. Her best result, semi-finals in 2022. Notably, I'd say probably her second worst slam for sure. Like Wimbledon, I still think she can get better at Wimbledon, though. She made quarterfinals last year. But yeah, Iga, I don't read too much into this. She can have an off day, and other players can have a good day, and this is what can happen on those days. Like it's good that the tour is now closing in a little bit, and you're starting to see some other players actually challenge the likes of Iga as well, and Sabalenka. I'd like to see somebody challenge her. Maybe Anisimova will be the one to challenge her later on this evening.
Yeah, there's very few days where she's like this, and she can be beatable. So we'll take them when we can, and Noskova certainly will. Let's move over to the men's.
Yeah.
And this is, for me, rivaling Iga for the number one shock element, and that is Grigor Dimitrov going out to Nuno Borges in 4 sets.
Yeah.
Borges lost the first set and then won the remaining 3. Before playing Dimitrov, he was one of the few players to have not dropped a set the entire tournament. I believe, is it him and Alcaraz? Was the only ones before?
What? Up
No,
till
Alcaraz
this?
did
No,
drop
it's
a set.
Sinner. It was Sinner.
Sinner and Borges. But then he did drop a set, but then just 1 in 4 against Grigor Dimitrov, the in-form man. What's your assessment? Because I've got a lot to say.
I thought he played incredibly well. Like the level was very high from both players, but the way that he's been playing this tournament is something I didn't ever expect from Nuno Borges. I mean, we knew of him. For me, I've said this about many players. I thought he was a clay courter, this type of thing. He's obviously grown up on the clay, and then these players actually get better and better on the hard court. He's actually a college tennis player. And I went back and watched our interview with Jose Morgado, and that was 3 years ago. And I think he was just outside the top 400 or something around there. And he was playing ITFs, making a few finals, just starting to play challengers and doing all right. Now look at him. I mean, taking out someone like Dimitrov in that type of form, and in the style, like his serving was so good in this match. He was hitting aces in big moments when a lot of other players we've seen in this tournament, they bottle it. And you just see them that they crumble. He's not crumbling under big moments, which is such a great thing for him and for Portugal as well.
Yeah, definitely. He's now the first Portuguese to reach the round 4 of the Australian Open. He equals the best run by a Portuguese in a major, João Sousa at Wimbledon and the US Open, and becomes the second Portuguese to enter the top 50.
Wow.
The ATP top 50, that is.
That's impressive, mate. I mean, he's just...
He's flying the flag. And it's always surprised me, really, that there's not been more players from Portugal come through. We never really see a big top 10 player. I mean, the best been João Sousa. But you'd expect with a country where there's so many tennis courts, we went there last year and had a great time, that they would produce more talent. Yeah. Maybe we are starting to see some of that talent coming through and breaking the records which have not many people been doing, because there's not been that many Portuguese players I can recall. And Nuno Borges is doing some amazing things right now. And I am so pleased for him, because he's showing that he's not just a clay courter. He's had his time in the colleges in America. I remember Jose Morgado was saying how he had one of the best records, winning over 300 matches in his time in America there. So
it's impressive.
He's versatile. And he's now, I think, going to surprise some people potentially in the next round.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think that I'm sort of eating my hat multiple times. I'm running out of hats to eat at the moment, JG. I doubt a lot of players, and we're going to get on to the next one who I actually stopped doubting, which was the young French player. This is actually somebody that I thought, I'm going to take a risk on him this time, and it is Arthur Cazaux. Because I don't know if you call this one a shock, because he was playing Talon Griekspoor, but Griekspoor is a seed as well in this tournament. Yeah. This was one, it was going to be really tough to pick, because Griekspoor's been playing really well, despite me not thinking he was going to do too well. And Arthur Cazaux just sort of come out of nowhere. In Grand Slam speak, I think he's not come out of nowhere. We know who he is, but I never expected him to be playing this level at this tournament. Did you?
Well, I don't think he'd ever won a Grand Slam match prior to this year in Australia. And you can read here from Damien that Cazaux's only top 50 win before this week was Mannarino in Geneva 2021. He's now defeated Rune, Griekspoor and Ger. It's also extremely rare to have to face 3 guys from the top 35 on the way to a Slam round 4. Only possible as he drew the highest ranked unseeded player in round 1. So despite you could look at the players he's beaten, Ger, Griekspoor and Rune, and saying they're not that in form and they could be harder opponents in Australia, in terms of their seeding and their ranking, it's probably the toughest anyone's had to face to get to a round 4. If you looked at the averages of the ranking, you've played, 3 players under top 25 so far.
And he's getting better as well. First round, he went 5 sets with Laszlo Gere. Second round, he went 4 sets with Holger Rune. Now he's just being Griekspoor in straight sets. What's next for him? He can't get better, can he? Is he going to bagel whoever he plays next? Is that what's going to happen here?
Well, I don't think it's easy for him in the next round. Let me just refresh my memory. It's Hubie Hurkacz, which is going to be super tough. But
good luck with that.
I'll be surprised if he doesn't take at least a set in that one. And just quickly back to Borges.
Yes.
I know I was saying he's got a chance in the next round. He's got Medvedev. Out of the other big 3 players, so Alcaraz, Djokovic, Sinner, I think that one has the potential to be the closest. I think Alcaraz, Kecmanovic won't be as close. Djokovic versus Mannarino won't be that close. I think Sinner will be fine with Khachanov. I'm most worried that out of the big 4, Medvedev is the one who's going to be going out, because Nuno Borges, I think, is extremely good, and I rate him so highly. He's here to stay now. He's here to stay.
I know when you get on a hype train, it's hard to get you off, and you don't. All the stations go by, and you're like, "Nope, I'm staying on right until the destination we get there." This one, I don't blame you, to be honest. I think he's a person you can get behind. I actually love him as a character. I think he has a real. he sells himself really well. He comes across like a great like personality as well.
Yeah, reminds me of Francisco Cerundolo.
Yeah,
Similar
good
type
comparison.
of path. Similar path completely. Cerundolo then started doing stuff on the hard courts and was really good and competing against these top players. And I was always worried about him when he was playing Rafael Nadal that year. I thought that was going to be quite close. It was a close match, it turned out. I believe that could have been in Australia as well. Borges is now at the peak Cerundolo level. So do whatever you want with that information, but a peak Cerundolo level is dangerous to anyone, including Medvedev.
Yeah, I mean, Cerundolo, he's just had a little bit of a tough one of late, but yeah, we know his level.
There's peaks and troughs in tennis. Yeah. He's not at that right now, but I'm talking about peak Cerundolo, when he's right up at his best. This is what Borges is. So
speaking of peaks, a nice segue into somebody reaching their peak at the Australian Open, and that is Carlos Alcaraz, who's gets to the fourth round for the first time in his career, which seems weird to say that. I know he's only played it twice before, but we expect him to be in the semi-finals and the finals of everything these days. This one, I mean, he had a bit of a touch here, I'm not going to lie. He played poor old Zhongchen Shang, or Jerry Shang as he's known, and it was 2 breadsticks and then a retirement for the young Chinese player. But I think we're going to see big things from Shang in the future. It's just a bit too much too soon for him, I think.
Yeah, it's great for Alcaraz because he's going to be picking up so many points at the moment because he didn't play the Australian Open last year. So whatever he does is points on his record at the moment, and he can close that gap with Novak Djokovic at world #1 at the moment. And what do I want to say about this? I thought this was fascinating that it is the first time he's played someone younger. It must be really weird for him.
Yeah.
Because he's always just known as the young kid, and now he's played someone younger. I don't think it bodes well for anyone younger than him because he absolutely killed him.
I mean, I would expect that against most people younger than him. Who is younger than him who can really give him a good test at the moment? I don't know many.
No, I don't either. Moving on.
Yeah, so this one, him just talking about his eating habits. He's been eating every day at a Spanish restaurant, and that's where I get all my power, he says.
He's been going under the radar. We've not really been able to cover many of his matches because of the timing. He's always been like the worst time for us in the UK, so I've only ever caught highlights of him. He's going through the draw without really any problems. Yeah. Just sneaking under the radar, really. I know people are saying Khachanov is. I feel like Alcaraz is. Despite him being the #2, he's just... There's no issues, really. He's just going through very easily, comfortably. I don't think he's had to play his best tennis yet. He's not been pushed at all. And I think that should be a real worry for a Sinner if he gets to the final, or a Djokovic, which is, of course, very likely. Alcaraz could be super, super dangerous if he can get all the way to a final without having any trouble.
Next up for him is somebody who caused an upset as well, someone who we haven't really spoken about because I've been expecting him to go out each round. Miomir Kecmanovic goes through again, bagels Tommy Paul in the final set. And Tommy Paul, somebody who's been to the, was it semi-finals here before?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, disappointed he'll be here, but Kecmanovic, I didn't expect this level from him. I know he said, was it about 2 years ago when he was really playing a high level? He just dropped off from that. I never really expected him to come back to that level again, and he seems to be playing like it again.
Yep, 2 match points for Tommy Paul.
Oh, really? I didn't even see that.
He had match point in the tie-break at 6-5. He then also had it at 7-6 on his racket, I believe, and then lost his serve, and then ended up losing 9-7. So
no wonder he got bageled in the final set there.
Yeah, so he had it all done. He had the match won against Kecmanovic and threw it away. So Kecmanovic, a lot of resilience, but I don't see him troubling Alcaraz in the next one.
Another upset, one that we didn't call, and one we should be happy about, Cam Norrie. And I did actually watch some of this match earlier, and I am seriously shocked by the level that Cam Norrie has brought to this Australian Open. Shouldn't be that shocked. He's a man from down under.
I'm not shocked at all. I think if you look at Norrie and Ruud on paper, it's an even matchup.
Well, he's never beaten him in like 4 matches, I don't think, before then.
It's just an even matchup, though. Like, I feel like them two are pretty... Rude's dropped down slightly than what he was for a start, and Norrie's just that guy. So I feel like it's
levelled.
not that much of a shock at all.
I saw a tweet that was
I didn't expect it to happen, though. I thought Rude was going to win.
I saw a tweet, I think it was Morgado put out. No, it might have been Gil Gross, actually, sorry. And he said about Cam Norrie's net play today that he'd won, I think it was something like 42 out of 55 net points. I mean, how crazy is that? He'd come into the net so often, and the amount of winners I saw him hit, he was just hitting off any ball that was free. And he was hitting winners against Casper Ruud. So Cam Norrie in this form, he's in Alcaraz's side of the draw. And notably somebody who has caused Alcaraz trouble in the past is Cam Norrie. So there's Zverev in there as well, though, in that section. So you'll have to wait and see how that all plays out.
Well, Zverev looks like he's won that in straight sets. So that's a nice 3 points for me. Just to put the nail in the coffin for...
It's done, yeah.
Was it the 4th round? 3rd round?
That's the 3rd round
Our
predictions.
3rd round predictions. We'll be doing 4th round predictions later on tonight. So if you want to join us for a live podcast around 7, 8 o'clock UK time, we will be doing a live predictions just like last time. Hopefully you guys can join us and play along at home. Medvedev, Felix, nothing to really discuss. He's had his number always. We've seen a really tight one in Australia a few years back, I believe, when it went to 5. But aside from
match
that,
points, didn't he?
It's now 6 love on the head-to-head with Medvedev. So let's move to the women's.
Yeah, move to the women's. Kalinskaya going through in a really hard-fought match against Sloane Stephens. I was really impressed with her resolve. I thought she should have taken the first set. She had set points, Kalinskaya, in the first set tiebreak, and Sloane dug in and took it. But well done to Kalinskaya for going
this is where you smashed your predictions, I think. I got all of these wrong.
You got like 5 in a row wrong, I think, with that.
I don't think I got hardly any of I didn't call any of these right. And you can see some of the odds. Yastrenska, she was an underdog, 1. Dodin, underdog, 1. So there was them 2. Blinkova wasn't an underdog, surprisingly, but she just beat Rybakina. I didn't expect that to happen either. And the others were really tight. Kalinskaya, Stevens, nothing between them. Ostapenko, Azarenka, nothing between them. I'm talking about where the book is. And then, of course, Iga lost. And Svitolina's the only one we all really got quite easily, straight sets.
I think I got Kim Win-Jeng in 3 was the one which got me the most. And then I obviously had Paolini and Azarenka to win on mine, but in different set scores. But still a few points on the board there for me. Kalinskaya, this is a big moment for her. Obviously, she's in that top section that we were speaking about earlier. And they're asking her on court, after reaching the first Slam 4th round, this is the most prize money that you had ever received at a tournament. And what would be your first purchase? It's actually $375,000 she'll be receiving.
Wow.
She said, I don't have anything in mind. I'll maybe take it easy. And they said, maybe some nice jewellery or earrings. And she said, maybe a nice purse. And there she is, I think. Well, it's a very modest thing. How expensive is this purse going to be? That's what I want to know. It's $375,000.
I'm hoping she doesn't have a partner because he's probably thinking at home, didn't get me anything nice then.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could probably just buy a house outright with that amount of money. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? But she could go through again, and then there might be even more money on the table if she manages to get to the quarterfinals. But well done to her. Let's just double check to make sure there are no other results that we've missed there. Obviously,
this is what we've got next, Ben, and that is
okay, go on then.
Docs.
Go on, bring it up, zoom in a bit.
Up. I didn't know if you had it or not.
Yeah, I've got it on there. That's fine.
Okay, so this is how it ended. On the women, somehow you beat me.
I know that last day. I mean,
which is insane. I think we just probably should update the last one, just so does it feed through or not?
Yeah, if you just write 3 in the Zverev and then 1 in mine. Yeah.
So this is the final scores now. So
it's quite close in the end, though. I started really badly.
Yeah, you had a bad start. I did very well on the men's. A 23 is pretty good for a 3rd round.
It's
going to be interesting because we can compare these now with other slams because, of course, it's always the same amount of matches. And we'll see, is a 23 one of the best scores we'll ever get in a Grand Slam? I think I'll do better at Roland Garros this year. That's my prediction.
I'm interested to know if people have got a bigger score than 23 on any of them. Put it in the comments section if you got it.
For sure. No cheating. And you did pretty well on the women's, I guess. 15, steady across the board. You're very even on both
ones, isn't it? It's like I'm just like Mr. Three Throw man. I'm not from any long distance, those shots. But yeah, hopefully I'll do better in the fourth round, eh?
Yeah. Right, well, let's wrap it up there. We will be doing fourth round predictions later on. The big news being Iga out of the Australian Open and Nuno Borges marches on. Can he do something crazy against Medvedev? We'll give our predictions later on. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and join us tomorrow because we've got Novak Djokovic back in action.
Come on, hit him all.
See you then.